Lou Nolan here with Cheyenne for Father's Daughters Talk Flyers.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 73. It is our trade deadline special.
Trade deadline special.
So the trade deadline just passed. It was 3 o'clock Eastern.
Yes.
So no trades can happen anymore. And Chuck Fletcher just had his press conference about it. So first of all, before we get too deep, how cool was that intro? Lou Nolan was nice enough to shoot a new intro, so that's awesome. So we're wearing these because a little frustrated with the Flyers right now, and these are the teams we're going to root for in the playoffs.
Krakens.
She is rooting for the Kraken. One, she likes the jersey, and two, it was fun to watch Berube win. She's rooting for Dave Hextall to win his cup, right? I'm a big Ghost fan. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous we gave up assets to get rid of him in the first place. Now Carolina got him given up. So Arizona ended up getting another pick for him, and I think he's going to help Carolina. So, since there's no Flyers playoffs to root for, I'm pulling for the Carolina Hurricanes. Plus, who doesn't love Rob Brendamore, their head coach? So, plus we discussed with the Flyers. So, former Flyers that moved, we mentioned Ghost. Luke Schenn also went to Toronto. Luke played here when he were really little. Didn't quite live up to the hype of being a high draft pick, but has since found a nice niche for himself, bouncing around the NHL, but playing well enough, to help, and I think he's going to provide nice depth for Toronto. Yeah. So we wish Luke the best, and Luke was always really nice when he was here. So, good luck to Luke. He's with Toronto now. Ghost is the big one. He's in Carolina. So remember, I've always told you that the Flyers should be moving James Van Riemsdyk, JVR, at some point, because he's in his contract is up at the end of the year. I was trying to explain the business side of it to you. For some reason, the Flyers weren't able to do it. I don't know. It was a record-setting trade deadline. More than twice the amount of trades happened. Chuck Fletcher said he didn't get a firm offer, which leads me to believe that there was definitely feelers out, and he waited too long. I still thought even today, I always thought JVR would get like a second and a third, or a second and a prospect, or something like that. Kind of thought even today he still should return a third. His numbers are down a little, but Flyers would retain half salary. He's still producing. He's still, if you look at metrics, which I'm not a huge fan of, but he's still making Frost and Tippett better. He's helping players. So for a playoff team not to want a guy who would also help their power play is just ridiculous, especially when so many players moved around the league. Yeah. So I honestly, it's borderline neglect that he couldn't move JVR for some kind of return today. Yeah. Especially considering he traded Zach MacEwen, which is sad. Sorry, she's been in school. She has this other stuff. So Jack MacEwen went out to Los Angeles.
Not Zach.
Yes. But he was on a return.
Ain't that Michelle's favorite?
Yes, that's Michelle's favorite player.
That's Michelle's favorite.
So Zach MacEwen went out, and I got that. He's on a return. You got a fifth-round pick. They got Brandon Lemieux back. I'm not the world's largest Brandon Lemieux fan. It seemed like most of the Flyers can't stand him, but I'll put a picture up. That's pretty famous. I know you yawn no matter what time of day it is. But it's like the Flyers are going to give Lemieux a 20-game tryout and see if he's a fit. If not, then they'll move on from him. At least they got a fifth back, which considering they picked up Zach for nothing, from a GM standpoint, although we're sad to see Zach go, that is a small win. I'll give Fletcher credit for that. And then the other move, they moved Isaac Radcliffe, who just needed a fresh change of scenery for future considerations. We'll see what that ends up being.
Yeah, whatever. I'm
happy Radcliffe's not longer a Phantom. Hopefully he can resurrect his career. I just never thought they used him right in the minors, and we'll see what happens. But that was a trade in minor leaguer, so I'm not upset by that. And Patrick Brown, they end up getting... I forgot. They got a pick back from Ottawa for Patrick Brown, which is, again, it's another expiring contract. You get something back for him. You're not making the playoffs. Those minor moves were all fine. Yeah. But not getting a return for JVR is unforgivable. It's catastrophic. It's awful. It's bad.
Catastrophic.
It's terrible. You ever watch,
extraordinarily awful.
Extraordinarily awful, yes. All good words for it.
It's astronomically unacceptable.
Also accurate. So, I just don't understand. And it makes me worried. I was never in love with the Chuck Fletcher hire in the first place. I don't think he built a winner in Minnesota when he had assets. I think he was handed Suter and Koivu. Two guys dying to play for their hometown team. Very talented guys, and he never built a winner around him. He was given those guys. Koivu. I'm sorry, I mixed up Koivu with something else. The Devils guys, when they left. It was terrible. I'm just not a fan of Chuck Fletcher. and this just made it worse. I've never, like all GMs, even though I didn't like Fletcher in the first place in the hire, all GMs make good and bad moves.
Yeah.
I think he's done good. I mean, he brought in Nishkin in, that was great. Ryan Ellis got hurt. Now, Ellis had an injury history, I get it, but he had to take a chance on it. That didn't work out. I don't fault him as much for that. I do see he's tried some moves. I don't think he's been aggressive enough. I was fine when the Flyers were building through the draft when Hextall was here, but then you take over and tell me they're going to be good, and they've been two of the hardest teams to watch. Last year's team was awful to watch. This year's team under Torts has been better to watch, but they're still not good.
Yeah.
Don't come out and tell me, you're going to make them a team, and then don't. And that's on Fletcher. You can't, if you're going to say it, back it up. So, most of Flyer World, I'm pretty disgusted today. And I try to be optimistic, but this is not a day for that. It's just, that's terrible. So, I do like JVR's play. It's just he shouldn't be playing here on a non-playoff team. So, it's nothing against JVR, the player. But I think it speaks to the credibility of Fletcher as a GM. I know. And please tell people it's the middle of the afternoon, so they don't think I keep you up till like 5 a.m.
It's 4:19 in the afternoon currently.
Exactly. So, so yeah, there's no knock against JVR. Some of the players that moved around, Jordan Greenway got a second-round pick. Like some of the players that moved around, JVR should have gotten a return. So I think it speaks to some of the credibility of Fletcher either being too passive and waiting to the last minute, or just not being respected by other GMs around the league, or he kind of thought he had a deal in place with Detroit, and then Detroit, but didn't aggressively pursue it. I mean, yeah. I've always taught you sales. You sell the heck out of Girl Scout cookies. You get a deal, you always be closing,
exactly.
And you be aggressive. You get it done. You get it done. Other teams, yep, and other teams were making deals for the last week.
Never take the first offer.
Nope, but you go back. But at some point, you take an offer.
Exactly.
Like you're down. Lesson. She's a Girl Scout. She sells a lot of cookies. You're down to the last bit of cookies.
Yes.
You got to move them. And you're down to the last day with JVR. You got to move them. I always thought JVR should get a second, but a third, even a fourth, and a prospect. They were going to rotate salary. Arizona can hold 3 contracts for guys who are never going to play again. Chuck should have got something done. So, my little actress here is going to be in the Frozen play in an hour or so. So we're going to let her go. Mm-hmm. And, frankly, I'm just too disgusted to talk hockey for the rest of the day. So,
yeah, you still have to sit in this room.
Yeah. Go Kraken. Go Canes.
Kraken!
One day, go Flyers again. By next week, I'll be better. But right now, I'm a little bitter.
That's a little salty.
I'm a little salty.
A little salty.
So, thank you for watching. I got nothing. So, we'll see you on next week's episode. We have a really great story from Doug Crossman about the 87 Brawl.
Yeah!
So, we'll get back to being happy about the Flyers. I'm taking a week off of being happy about the Flyers because I just can't muster it up right now. Thanks for watching.
Bye! Gotten really good at that.
You have gotten really good at that.
Ugh, scooch.
All right, stop shaking the table and push stop.